If you were lucky enough to find a permanent magnet on the road or recover one from an old machine or device, what would you do with it? For a DIY recycling enthusiast, it's nothing less than a treasure. Not because of its monetary value but because it can inspire countless creative ideas. And now, let's explore one of its most fascinating uses in this DIY project. The project I'll be working on in this video is an electrolysis setup for removing rust from metal. To make the project more interesting, I'll use this permanent magnet as a core and wind electrical wire around it to form an inductor. As current flows through the coil, it generates a magnetic field and stores part of the energy in that field. This property allows the inductor to resist sudden changes in current, helping the current become more stable before entering the electrolysis system. A positive wire has been neatly wound around one half of the permanent magnet. Likewise, I'll wind a negative wire around the other half to complete the coil. With that, the coil is complete. The wire windings have been firmly secured to the permanent magnet using hot glue. Next, I'll prepare and connect the wire ends to complete the remaining electrical connections. This is an alligator clip. With its help, connecting electrical wires to a power source becomes quicker, easier, and more secure. Here I have an old soldering iron that has been used for many years. Its tip is covered with heavy buildup and has turned completely black after a long period of use with little to no cleaning. I'm going to use it as a real-world example to see whether this electrolysis cleaning project can restore it to a like-new condition. But first, let's take a close look at its current state and see just how badly it has deteriorated. As you just saw, this soldering iron can no longer perform at its full potential. The main reason is that its tip has accumulated heavy residue and oxidation after being used for a long time without regular cleaning. Before starting the electrolysis cleaning process, I'll immerse the soldering iron tip in water to lower its temperature and prepare it for the next step. I'll connect this positive wire directly to the soldering iron tip. I'll connect this negative wire to a clean piece of metal. This setup creates the two electrodes in the system, allowing the current to focus on the soldering iron tip at the positive electrode during the electrolysis process. This is a glass jar used to hold a diluted salt solution. Regarding the concentration of the diluted salt solution, you only need to adjust it to a suitable level, as it does not require an absolutely precise ratio. During the electrolysis process, the salt concentration mainly affects the electrical conductivity of the solution, so it only needs to be sufficient to allow the current to flow properly. This is a standard battery. I'll use it as the power source for this electrolysis solution project. Depending on the size of the rusted metal object being cleaned, you should choose a battery with a suitable capacity. For this soldering iron tip cleaning project using electrolysis, there is clearly no need for an oversized battery. A compact power source is already enough for the task. There is one more thing I want to remind everyone. While observing the electrolysis reaction taking place inside the solution container, when you notice that the solution no longer becomes cloudier, you can stop the cleaning process. After the initial electrolysis step, The rust stains have become lighter and weaker, but that does not mean they can be completely removed through ordinary cleaning methods. Therefore, I will move on to a more advanced cleaning step to deal with the remaining residue. In this cleaning step, I will combine sandpaper and WD-40 multi-purpose oil for deep cleaning. The sandpaper will provide mechanical abrasion to remove rust layers and residue stuck on the surface, while WD-40 will help loosen oxidized layers, reduce friction during sanding and make contaminants easier to remove. The combination of the mechanical action of sandpaper and the cleaning support from WD-40 will help treat the soldering iron tip surface more effectively. It looks pretty good and effective, doesn't it? Now I'll reassemble the soldering iron and carry out some real tests to check whether the tip has actually been cleaned effectively. The heating performance is not bad at all, is it? It seems that the soldering iron tip has regained its original working ability. Now, let's continue watching to see what results the next test will bring. After the entire process of electrolysis combined with deep cleaning, this old soldering iron has regained a very impressive heating performance. The soldering tip is not only noticeably cleaner but also able to operate steadily again, proving that this cleaning method has delivered effective results. However, the most interesting part of this project is not only the final result, but also the permanent magnet that seemed like an ordinary object at first. From a small reused component, it became an important part of this experiment, helping turn the original idea into a creative DIY project. Sometimes, objects that seem to have little value can still hide great potential. With a little exploration and creativity, we can create something truly interesting from the familiar things around us.